Marion Brown, Summat Good. Christmas. It's about being with your family, presents, and putting a snowball down your brother's neck and then running away as fast as you can. And you're not at school, which means long lies and quality time on the Xbox. Not that Gran approved of me doing that, mind you. Even after all this time, I can hear her telling me to get outside into the fresh air, get my eyes unpeeled from those screens. Fresh air, more like freezing out on these streets. I pull up my hood to keep my head warm as my breath pours out of my mouth like dragon smoke, curling into the cold air. The shadowy people slumped in the shop entrances look frozen too, and they're stuck here. To try to keep warm, they've curled up in old sleeping bags and thin blankets. Suspicious eyes stare out at me, wondering what I'm doing on the city streets when most people have gone home. Empty coffee cups and discarded sandwich papers blow past in the wind, dropped by the Saturday shoppers who rushed past the homeless people earlier. Maybe didn't even see them sitting cross-legged on the pavement, hoping for a few coins and the chance of a warm meal. The grey pavements glisten from the cold sleet and it seeped into their blankets, pooling in dirty puddles at their feet. This chill would make anyone shiver, but they have nowhere else to go. No choice but to tough it out. As another line of shivers limbos up and down my spine, I clutch at my bag of hats, scarves and gloves, wondering if there's any point being here, whether what I'm doing will make any difference. A picture of Gran pops into my head, sat by the fire, warming her hands on a mug of tea and rattling the biscuit tin at me. She's shaking her head, telling me to focus on the now instead of the past. But my mind won't let her go, and I remember Mum's voice cracking as she tells me Gran's gone. Gone? What did that stupid word even mean? Like she'd stepped out to the shops and forgotten to come back? That she'd been abducted by aliens? I wouldn't listen. Didn't want to hear that word. Shouted at her, then said she was lying. Gran had promised she would be there for me, to watch me getting married. She never stopped telling me how she couldn't wait for me to get married. After she'd gone, there was this massive void, a big dark hole that opened up inside me. I used to climb up on the school roof and just sit and remember her, pretend she'd be waiting at hours, sitting in her favourite chair when I got back, that nothing had changed. It did, though. Change, I mean, after she passed away. I headed down the wrong path. You know, the one that calls to you with its promise of an easy medicine of booze and pills. The path that you hope will make you buzz, out with your mates having a laugh, blanking out the memories. But next day you still hurt. Then the police knock on the door to talk to your mum and dad. You listen upstairs, the big empty space still in your stomach, while you sit in your room, grounded. Gran would have been so mad at me for doing those stupid things. All she wanted was for me to be happy. She'd have given me an earful if she'd found me sitting at home, headphones jammed in my ears, curtains shut all day. Stop sulking, Jav, she'd have said, her brow going all wrinkled with annoyance. Stop wasting your life and get out of here. Do something good with your life. She was right. She was always right, my Gran. Life isn't about sitting in the dark, head somewhere weird and not talking to anyone. Life is for getting out, connecting. It was volunteering that got me off that wrong path, showed me that you can make a difference. When I told my brother that I was going to volunteer, he said I was daft. Why go and do something you don't get paid for, he asked. They're using you for cheap labour. Spend your time making some money instead of wasting your time on that stuff. He didn't get that it wasn't to do with the money. Mum and Dad were pleased, though, glad I was doing something that got me off the streets. I felt different about myself once I started volunteering, and then I met another volunteer called Chrissy. Immediately we connected, because she got what was digging at me, that I was acting stupid because I was angry with everything. She helped stop me doing a lot of bad things I would have done. Not that she was old and wise, not like Gran, only in her 20s with a family of her own, so she had plenty on her plate. No idea how she managed to volunteer as well. She was like us, chilled out, always on our level. If you needed her any time of day, she'd be there for you. She'd lost her Gran. She understood. Spare a quid, mate. I come back to tonight, to the cold and to the people who need help. A man is looking at me, a hopeful expression on his face. I pull a hat and gloves out of the bag and hold them out, thinking he might ignore me because I'm not offering him any money. But he reaches out to grab them, and I clock his shaking hands, stained with nicotine and dirt. His face looks ancient, but his eyes are still young. He gives me a thumbs up. "Thanks, mate," he says. "Merry Christmas." Then he retreats back into darkness, pulling the gloves over his fingers. I glimpse his little dog, some sort of terrier, snout just poking out as he snuggles deeper into the blankets. Glad he's got someone, a bit of company. The girl I walk towards next shuffles away, deeper into the doorway. She squints up at me, her eyes full of something between suspicion and hope. She can't be more than 17, but her eyes look old, tired. Why is she sitting here in the cold and rain, alone at Christmas instead of at home with her family? "Got some clothes to keep you warm." I smile as I squat down, offer the clothes, and her bird-like tiny hand stretches to grab them. The small smile drifts across her face as she brings the woolly hat to her face. That's when it feels good, volunteering. When you know you've made a difference to someone. She pulls the purple hat over her hair and tilts her head. "How do I look?" "Cool," I say. "I mean, cool trendy, not cool like in cold." She giggles. "I know what you meant. Cheers." Soon we've run out of stuff because there's a lot of people on the streets tonight. It's hard when I open the front door, feel the blast of central heating, hear the laughter. I can still see the huddled figures in those doorways. That's where they're going to have to spend the night. Gran's voice is in my head, though, telling me you've done something that will make a difference to those people. "All right, Jav, you've been out for ages." I nod to my brother, but don't answer. My mind's still out on the streets. Mum gets up and gives me a huge hug, then rubs my arms. "You're freezing. Get changed and I'll get a brew on." She smiles. "That's a lovely thing you've done tonight. Gran would be so proud of you." Chokes me up, I'll tell you, when she says that, so I quickly hug her back and go upstairs to sort my head out. My mind keeps running movies, as if it's stuck on a YouTube channel. That's where the whole Christmas present idea came from. Saw it on YouTube and thought, why can't we do that here? Collect lots of presents and give them to people who are out on the streets, with no friends and no family. Stuff most of us take for granted. Give them real hope, not everyone is against them. Thought there was nothing to stop me. Could hear Gran's voice saying, "Now stop thinking and get out there and do it. Make every day count. And Jav, when are you going to get married?" I think I really got what she meant by get out and do it when I helped those disabled kids. Most of them were stuck in the house the whole day. They needed the chance to be outside, to see stuff, experience things the same way everyone else does. Seeing the smiles on their faces, bringing a bit of joy to them, made me happy too. As I drift off to sleep later that evening, I'm warm inside. The big black hole is gone. Because the thing with volunteering is it's a two-way street. When I go for jobs, I've got experience, a story to tell, and that makes a difference. People look at you with respect, know you don't mind hard work. Put something into volunteering and you get double back out. Helped me decide what I wanted to do as well. Not sure I'd have applied for my course, gone to university, if I hadn't got my confidence through volunteering. I'm not at my best first thing. My bed's way too comfy for a start, but next morning, around 10:30, the ping of my phone pulls me out of my dreams, and I throw off the duvet and reach across to grab it. I squint at the screen lit up with an email. When I open the message, I can't make sense of it. Well, I can't believe what I'm reading. I shove on my glasses and the screen comes into focus, super sharp. The email says I've won an Excellence Award for all those hours of volunteering. Me, an award for excellence. People like me don't win awards. Except somehow, thanks to volunteering, I did. You know what Gran would have told me? It's because I got out of the house and did Summat Good.